Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I'm going to chat with you guys just a little bit about, range of motion, lengthened position, stretch mediated hypertrophy, all of those things. And this is stuff that both anecdotally people have figured out over the years, as well as all the current scientific research does seem to be finding more and more and more and more that lengthened positions of muscles really gives us the best gains. Like if you're just trying to get big and jacked, lengthened positions does this. So again, adding range of motions to things, right? You see me adding range of motions on those deficit deadlifts, using a stiff bar so it doesn't whip, right? So that I'm forced to pull a slightly longer distance. Same thing, I'm doing some high rep benching here with the McDonald bar, right? Lets me get deeper, similar to the way we can do with dumbbells. Gives you an inch or two deeper, a couple inches deeper than you can get with a normal barbell, right? You'll see me doing some pause squats in here, long pausing. Just trying to, all the lifts that I'm just kind of doing in here is stuff that you will realize do these things. Incline bench, all right? What's one of the big deals with the incline bench? Yeah, the angle, but we can get a deeper stretch. It really, really, really stretches the pectoral. Dumbbell rowing, we can get a nice, good stretch at the bottom. Same thing, you could do pull-ups from a dead hang, get a deep stretch on the lats, biceps, everything. All right, all this stretched, lengthened positions, this is really magic. Like it really is the most bang for your buck if you're trying to stack on size. But what about when we talk about, the strength components? What about when we talk about mobility? All right, well, what's the best way to get mobile? To resistance train into the longest range of motion that you can. Within safety reasons, obviously you're not trying to tear anything because it is possible for some joints, to be put in those positions. But really, guys, the stretch positions, all right, what do you think increases hip mobility? What do you think increases ankle mobility? How about going into a deep stretch full squat with a weight on your back and having to stretch down with it and let it force you down on a pause? All right, like I'm doing there. I think actually this clip is from the first day I started doing these recently. So by the time this comes up, I may have been doing them a little while. But you know what? We're now stretching everything under load. And I'm not talking about, just a little light stretch. I mean, you put 300, 400, 500 pounds on your back. That's a lot of stretch. Same thing, watch even these dumbbell rows, trying to get those lats pulls, getting those scapula spread apart. Granted, I could have done them a little better in this one. But when we think about the mobility, what is mobility? Mobility is strength at the ends of your range of motion. How strong are you when you are put into a long range of motion? Like flexibility is how far can a joint move. Mobility is how strong are you in that position. Because if you're strong, if you have good mobility, that goes a long way for preventing injuries and a whole lot of things. Okay? Because we can produce force. We're strong in those positions. Things don't get pulled and or torn as easily because the muscles, connective tissue, and everything are strong. They're used to those positions. Okay? Same there. Watch that long pause. Trying to hold that for about 10 seconds at the bottom. Into that deepest position I can go. Now, we can argue that about tension and all of that. Will that add some potential hypertrophy also, even to do a long pause like that? Yes, because then I'm having to contract it afterwards, right? We had to deal with an eccentric rep and a concentric rep, but we had to deal with a long, deep pause. Those muscles are under a lot of tension. Okay, everything is stretched. Quads and everything are stretched as far as they'll go. Just fighting and being stretched under load, and then they have to contract and move that weight. Okay. There's a hypertrophic response to that. And again, you want to look at something like that. What's the efficiency of the hypertrophic response on that? I mean, that's some very good efficiency. I mean, we could say, one rep doesn't build muscle. Well, maybe in the case of a rep like that, it might. Right? There's a whole lot of mechanical tension on that muscle, followed by a dynamic contraction. Deficit deadlifts like this, doing rep work with 500 on this. Think about that in terms of again, the extra load put on the hamstrings, the glutes. You know, people have these glute obsessions, or, oh, I need to build bigger glutes. Women do. You've done something like this? Really get strong at deficit deadlifts. You know, for reps. I'm not talking about even your 1 rep max. I'm talking about for 4, 5, 6, 10 reps. You'll absolutely build your glutes. You know, we talk about big pecs, getting these stretch positions. All right, so how does all this then carry over to performance? Think about it. On a lot of our big lifts, for example, where are we weakest? We're weakest at the lengthened position. So what happens if we really spend a lot of time building muscle and getting strong at some of these slightly longer positions, right? Incline bench does this too also, by the way. Again, that stretch you put on there. But now we're having to do reps from tensions and that are longer than we go into on those max lifts. Okay? What does that do for our force production through our potential biggest initial sticking point? Because where's always our first? Where's usually the biggest sticking point that tends to develop? It's oftentimes at the bottom of these lifts. Now we're getting real strong at doing work a little deeper than the bottom of these lifts for some of these joint angles. Okay, we've got that mobility. What does that do for our force production? It means we explode out of those positions a lot faster. Well, those are oftentimes our mechanically weakest positions. Now we can really produce a lot of force in them. Okay. All right. Our strength potential goes up big time. How about our injury risk? We're now really strong, and our tendons and the muscles and everything are used to being loaded for, volume in deeper stretches than what we're going into for that max lift, for a squat, bench, deadlift, whatever. Okay, that's a real good thing for injury prevention and resilience. That's a real good thing. Plus, what does it do for brute strength? The ability to just move a weight from a dead stop. A lot of these things will help you do that. All right, that's a lot of power potential. What does that do for contact sports? Combat sports. All right, it's bringing some stuff to the table. Now again, I want to state that it's not making up for skill. Someone who's skilled is still going to hurt you. Right? If they outskill you, you're in trouble. Right? Someone who's just a better fighter. But what about someone who is trained and they know how to compete in these things? What does this bring to the table for them? They can produce a lot more force, just brute strength. Right? You combine that with technique and skill. Now that's some awesome stuff. Right? This is good stuff, guys. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys and gals next time.